Today's episode is brought to you by Pillar Performance. They are the episode sponsor. And if you've never heard of those guys before, then let me explain to you exactly who they are. They are a great team of people down under in Australia, and they are a micronutrition company. And ultimately, they are tackling sports supplementation completely different to anyone out there. So we've all heard of products that come from carbohydrates and hydration. They are there to get you to the finish line in the best place possible. Whereas Pillar Performance, they are getting you to the start line in the strongest place possible. Now, if you use TRACKSTAA's discount code, which is TRACKSTAA, all capitals, you can get 15% off their entire range. If you're watching from the US, you can head over to pillarperformance.shop and grab yourself 15% off. And if you're outside of the US and you're watching today, you can head over to thefeed.com/pillar. Use TRACKSTAA's discount code, which is all capitals TRACKSTAA, 15% off. And once again, thank you for Pillar for supporting the show. Running fans, welcome back to the TRACKSTAA Podcast. Thank you once again for tuning in. And also a massive thank you for the support to the show and what we're doing at TRACKSTAA for the last few weeks. It's been a lot of fun, a lot of busy times, but it's good to be able to bring this content to you guys. And today we've got another exciting show with a slightly different backdrop. We're actually filming this from my house. No other reason other than because, well, we couldn't get to the office and film basically, so we had to find a new location. So yeah, this is my gaff. I didn't expect my house to feature this quickly into the podcast journey, but it is, and hopefully you enjoy it, and hopefully it doesn't sound too badly. Anyway, on the show today, we are talking all things Liverpool cross country, which at time of filming this is in a few days' time, so it's at the weekend. We're then going to preview the European cross country championships, which is in Turkey. We're going to run you through some of the leading athletes that you can expect to see from not just around Europe, but also UK as well. We're going to talk about Podium because it was the 10-year anniversary event just recently. Rosie was there doing interviews, so we're going to talk to you about what it was like on the ground and talk about the journey of Podium and where it sort of started and where it is now. And then we're going to run into some information around the London 2012 Olympic Games. Unfortunately, more drug ban chat. And then we'll finish off with mine and Rosie's top moments that we've ever witnessed during our fan journey. But without further ado, I'm going to welcome my co-host, Rosie, back to the show. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. What's new with you? What you been up to?
I've been not enjoying this cold weather is my biggest thing, I think, the last few weeks. Nice. Yeah, it's not been too good for me. I quite like my warmth. So, yeah, not a fan of that, heating straight on. But apart from that, we're all good.
What have you been doing the last week? Anything interesting that you can bring to the table? What's the most exciting thing you've done in the last week?
I think the most exciting thing I've done is going on a 10-mile long run around Richmond. It was great.
Wow.
Brilliant. I know, it's been a great week.
That is living life on the edge.
Isn't it just? Yeah, uni and running has been my last 10 days, I think.
That is lit.
So wow. What more could you... Yeah, it's been real remarkable the last 10 days or so. But hey, we're going through the motions. It's good.
That's it. And in terms of the show, Rosie, obviously this is our third episode?
Yes.
It's our third episode. I mean, it's been a bit... It's flown by, but the support's been great. On social media, YouTube comments, etc. How have you found it being in the hot seat?
It's been really cool, actually. It's been really quite fun. You get seeing all the comments coming through and what people think. And yeah, it's been really exciting, actually, just to sit and watch it, because being part of it is one thing and it's really cool. But also to be able to be in a position where I can sit and use my own account to watch it grow and see the general reaction, kind of not through TRACKSTAA's eyes, but through a content consumer, has been really interesting. It's been really fun. So yeah, it's been a great kind of six weeks, I guess.
Yeah, so we do an episode every 2 weeks of this show, guys, and then in the week in between we release our bi-weekly newsletter, which is basically an editorial version of the show. We just run you through what's going on in the running world, any news. We also preview events, review events, talk about kit, gear, everything is included. And do you know what? The new newsletter, which Rosie is also featured in, she's one of our editors along with George. I think I had this vision for the newsletter to be, whatever it was in my head, and it surpassed that. Along with the show, it surpassed my expectations, because it's one of those products that you don't know what it's going to quite materialise into until you see it. And the newsletter that went out yesterday, it's so in depth. Honestly, I feel like we're giving too much value. I know that sounds really cringy, but it's so in depth. The amount, it's just pages and pages and pages from the UK scene, the United States scene. There's so much in there. So basically, guys, if you're not subscribed, go and subscribe to the newsletter. if reading about running is your gig, and if you prefer watching or listening, then yeah, this show's on YouTube and it's going to be on all your podcast platforms. Which brings us into the first topic that we're going to be talking about, Liverpool cross country. Obviously, we're British, so if you're not aware of what that is and you're watching from overseas, what is the Liverpool cross?
So the Liverpool cross is part of the Cross Challenge series, which is a series that goes through kind of the entire cross-country season. It has various locations around the country, and that's a league in itself, but it often incorporates other races. So this is going to have the European cross-country trials in with it, which makes it one of the biggest races of the calendar, because everybody goes to Liverpool, whether you're going to try and get a vest or not. Everyone goes to Liverpool. It's just a huge event. It's massive. It's in Sefton Park each year, and it's always kind of this weekend in November, kind of around the 20th, 25th of November, that sort of area. And even as a junior, when you've not got a vest on the line, you kind of know that there's something different about Liverpool. And as you move through the age groups and as you progress up to the under-20s, under-23s and seniors, you start to realise just how intense the day is.
It's mental.
Absolutely next level. So, yeah, the Liverpool Cross Challenge is probably the most anticipated event this side of Christmas.
It's so scary.
It is terrifying.
There is a lot of pressure.
Cross country is really unique, I think, in my eyes. Cross country and road running, because it's one of the only things that you can do where you will stand on the same start line as someone that is paid to do your sport.
Yeah, that's true.
And I remember a few years ago being stood there and I was next to Gestured on the start line. I remember looking at it thinking, why am I here? Like, this is just crazy. This is absolutely mental. Just looking up at it thinking, oh, it's a big day today.
Yeah, literally. You're basically, you are up against the big guns.
Yeah.
And the sponsored and professional athletes that will feature, they are preparing for that race. That's like the first peak of their winter to try and make Eurocross.
So the Eurocross is 2 weeks after Liverpool. So everyone's going to be in pretty decent shape, and they've all got a taper, and make sure they peak twice in very quick succession. You've got to bring your A game to Liverpool, because one slip up and it can be catastrophic. And I mean, Sefton Park, it gets muddy. It gets really muddy, but this year it's either freezing.
It's either mud. It's either a swamp or dry.
Yeah, there's no real in between.
Sort of recollection of it. And the year I did it, I've only done it once in 2017, 2018, and it was bone dry. I prefer a swamp just because, make it a bit harder. It gets rid of some of the track runners. But I just remember it being, I came off and, my words were, this race is so competitive.
Yeah.
And I'd never experienced that before. Like, I'd never felt so out of my depth with how competitive it was. And that was from the physicality of the race, like runners just cutting you up, elbowing you, like fighting for every single position. And you'd have runners in the senior men's race come in 150th, 200th that are really good runners. Like, seriously talented runners, whereas you don't get that in any other race. Like, National Cross and Unit Counties, it's not like that. It's not at that depth.
Yeah.
Liverpool is the creme de la mob.
It is. And, I mean, you have your championship end of the season after Christmas, but Liverpool, in my eyes, surpasses anything that we do after Christmas. Yeah. It's the top of the cross-country season. And it's always really interesting because November isn't that deep into cross. You've got the National Cross Relays, which you've got you run out, spin the legs round over 5k for the senior men or 3k for the women. And then you're completely changing tack and going into Liverpool. And it's a real hard race. Like, it's not particularly hilly. It's not... on paper, you look at Liverpool and you think this should be quite a pleasant cross-country. But
it's
fast, brutal.
Isn't it? It doesn't matter the weather. It's always quick because it's flat enough for people to just... You can... Like, there are quite a few twists and turns, but it's one of those courses where the runners will hit a bend or they'll hit a tougher section, and then as soon as they're out of that, the pace increases, so it's just consistently surging, until you can't maintain it, I guess. Yeah,
it is. There's no let up at Liverpool. There is, off the top of my head, maybe one or two sections that I think, I probably enjoyed those sections because people did slow down a little bit, and I could just kind of roll through it and keep my momentum going. But you come out of that section. I mean, the first bit that comes to my head is round the back of the start line. So you head back round and then back up the starting straight. Yeah. And then as you finish, you do a hairpin turn back down that to finish. And that straight is just brutal.
Yeah, savage.
There's no real reason for it. There's no kind of logic behind it. It is just a killer because it's flat, it's fast, and you do it about 3 times, I think, as a senior, if not more. And it just kills you off, and you just think, I'm done. I'm absolutely done. So Liverpool is the peak for so many reasons because it is a real graft. It is it's brutal. Like, you're just going to be absolutely wrecked by the end of the day. There's no way around it. And I think going into that, knowing that, brings a whole new dynamic, because it's just, it is so tough that it really does sort out those that are going for a vest from those that aren't. And you're right, it is one of the most competitive things that you will ever do as an athlete, whether you are on the brink of that GB vest or not, or whether you're trying to catch a selector's eye for a discretionary place. It is just brutal, and I can't kind of articulate that enough, because it is such a big event.
So talk us through the qualification process and some of the leading runners. Obviously, we've had, in our newsletter that went out yesterday, we had our predictions for who can make the team. So you've obviously got teams, not just for the seniors, you've got the junior races as well, but we've also got the short course champs as well, which is a new dynamic that's come in the last few years, isn't it? Which I think is contested over 1,500 metres or a mile for the men and the women. But starting with the seniors, who would you say? And actually, our predictions are normally bang on, aren't they? If we go off our cross country relay.
I mean, we are evidently so good.
And we were getting stick on Instagram for our NCAA cross predictions. I feel like George got a tough go there. He's like, I
think he probably did, yeah.
He's probably never going to want to do a prediction ever again. But listen, sometimes we get it right, sometimes we get it wrong. Yet to get it right.
When my crystal ball starts working, then I can have some stick. But
at least we are doing predictions.
Yeah, we're trying.
It's a topic. So we're going to try again to talk about some of the leading runners. But talk us through some of the senior races and who we should look out for.
Yeah, so this is obviously going to be quite entertaining for people to watch, knowing the result because we are looking forward.
Yeah,
this will be
so when this comes out, Liverpool will have happened.
You'll already know if we're wrong.
Yeah, so when we come back, we just laugh at us, basically.
Yeah. So this could be a hilarious little section. But in the seniors, 4 will qualify automatically. It's first 4 across the line, and it's the same for the under-20s as well.
Yeah.
And then there's 2 discretionary spots, which are picked by selectors within the next week or so.
Oh, that always causes arguments, because British athletics are notoriously useless.
Always chaotic.
Useless at those 2 discretionary places.
So that's...
Say it with your chest. Useless.
It's going to be interesting. But we've got, of course, returning to Liverpool after succeeding last year in their qualifications. We've got Hugo Milner, our own Alfie Manthorpe. He'll be going for it again.
Yes, Alfie.
And Angus McMillan. So all 3 of them will have an eye on the auto qualification spots.
Yeah.
How the conditions are going to impact each of them.
Yes, great point.
Could be, we don't know, because it's going to be sloppy, I think, Liverpool. It's going to be cold, where it's not stopped raining up there all week. So, really interesting to see how that plays out.
There's so many in that senior men's race. Obviously, Hugo, Angus and Alfie have made the team before at Liverpool.
Yeah.
Hugo Milner is like a demon at Liverpool. Yeah. And, I mean, he's flying in the tri races. I can't see him getting beat. Like, he's almost
he won
like...
it last year, and a commanding win last year.
He absolutely battered the field.
He did.
But what about, like, there are a lot of runners that could run really well.
So we've got...
Who we got?
George and Charles Wheeler.
Can't leave out the Wheelers.
No, they have...
They nearly made it last year, didn't they?
Yes, and they actively have said on Instagram they're going for it. They know that they want it. They've done their first...
It's all out there.
They've laid it all out. They know what they want.
And they're sponsored now. So first year being pro with Kit Run.
Yeah.
So
they've been out in font as well recently.
And one of the Wheelers, I say one of the Wheelers because I don't know about you, but with twins, it's really difficult to always remember which one's which.
Is.
One of the Wheelers ran a fast 5 miler recently. I think it was in Milton Keynes, their hometown. Yeah. They ran 23:0 for 5 miles, which was course record. And I read the caption on Instagram. I think it was like all time wise was up there. So
right.
Yeah, I mean, they're not in bad shape.
Yeah, so we can't write them off. And we know that at the cross relays, they did lead out the entire first half of the race. They were on first and second leg.
Yeah.
And they led it out by a mile. Yeah. They battered
a good indicator.
Yeah, so they're in good shape. We've also got virtually all of Team Macau Endurance.
Yeah, you could take the whole team.
They're all, nearly all of them are there. Sarah Aston going later on in the women's.
Yeah.
I think she's in the under-23s.
Sarah Aston?
I think so, yeah.
She's senior.
Is she?
Defo, yeah. Sorry, Sarah, you're an old girl now.
Oh, she was on my list as an under-23.
No, Saz is like about my age.
Oh, well, I did question it, but it said it came up on the entry on the start list.
Yeah, so Saz, she'll be in the seniors.
Okay.
And then from...
Interesting.
Is it Team Macau?
Team Macau, I think so.
Okay, and then you've got Callum Elson in the short course.
So Elson's running in the short course. I will go back and check the start list because I did double take when I saw her on the under-23 start list, but I assumed that
Saz is definitely a senior.
she would know better than I would, so
100%.
I just left it to it. But anyway, I'm sure that'll get sorted out on the day. So she's going in the women's, of course. We've got people like Rory Leonard.
Yeah.
He's
Rory Scott.
Really, he's really going to want. He got the fastest leg at
Morpeth
cross
boys.
relays.
Yeah.
And he got a vest last year in the under-23s. So
he's never made seniors because obviously he's junior stepping up.
Yeah, so it's a big ask coming up, but he's going to want it.
Say this about Rory, and you won't mind me saying this. He's had some humdingers at Liverpool. I love Rory. Like, he's such a ledge. He has had some humdingers. There was one year I went to watch, and I was certain Rory was going to win or get the vest. I can't remember which year it was, so like, I feel like I'm doing him a bit of disjustice or injustice, not knowing the year. But Rory's got the talent and he's put the work in. He's good enough to make the team. It's just whether he's keep his head in check.
Yeah,
because Liverpool's that race.
It is.
Get in your head.
There's almost you look at it. There's so much riding on it, isn't there? Like you can't worry about where your head's going to be at Euros because you're not at Euros yet. There's a big consequence if you don't perform at Liverpool. So it's understandable that is why some people it is the pinnacle of domestic cross country.
I don't think he's ever been this prepared. No, that's
yeah.
probably not fair. I don't think he's ever been this fit or this good.
Yeah.
So I just, a bit like Hugo Milner, I just can't see how
can't
he
write him
can't.
off.
But I think that out of everyone, Rory's the one that can beat Hugo at Liverpool.
Yeah.
And possibly take it to him.
Yeah, it'll be exciting to watch, most definitely. And of course, we've got Scott. Ellis Cross is in that team as well.
Yeah, Ellis has he's got good pedigree over the cross country as a junior and that, so he won't be far off, surely.
So that Team Macau definitely could have a big sweep if they all hit it right on the day.
Before we get into the women's, dark horse in the men's, Joe Wigfield.
Yeah,
because he won.
Absolutely.
Dominated the cross country relays first leg last year.
Yeah,
didn't run it this year. Mm-hmm. He's flying in training.
Yeah.
Like sessions, I've been down the road, but flying. And I know he's going for Liverpool. He's run all right there, I think, in the past.
Yeah, he has.
I think he'll go potentially for the win, but I think he'll qualify.
Yeah, I think that's a great shout. Because he's in good shape, but we've reeled off a whole load of names there, and
there's not enough vests.
But yeah, there's far too many names for vests.
I know.
Which is a great position for us to be in as Great Britain. Depth. To have that depth, to be spoilt for choice, is a privilege, but it does kind of make you think someone is going to have their heart broken at Liverpool.
And you will have people turn up that we're not thinking about. Tom Evans has turned up years gone by and made the team. Mohammed brothers always make the team, or if not, they're knocking on the door. Mohammed, if he runs, surely makes the team.
Exactly.
Sorry if you didn't make that preview. But there's a lot of runners that could make that best.
Exactly.
On the women's side?
So we've got Abby Donnelly returning.
Solid runner on the cross.
We can't write her off at all. Like she had a phenomenal season last season over the cross. So you can only think that she's going to be full of confidence.
Did she win it last year?
Yeah.
Who was second?
Oh, good question.
Jess Judd, maybe?
Potentially. Jess Judd had a very good run last year. Izzy Fry had a great run last year.
Amelia Quirk.
So, again, 4 straight off the bat there. Poppy Tank made the team last year.
Yeah, and she ran well. Poppy ran well at... I think she ran well at cross relays. Oh, she ran well recently somewhere, so Poppy Tank will be in shape.
As did Kate Axford. She'll be looking to do some damage there as well.
I think Kate makes the team.
So
I think Kate could win it. I'd like to put my money on Kate.
It's, again, we're spoilt for choice in the women's as well. I'll be interested to see how Jess Judd does perform. She
don't know what she's...
ran at the cross relays and essentially was just saying she was so happy to be running and being in a race again and enjoying it and not putting pressure on.
She had a tough track here, didn't she?
Yeah, she's had a really tough season, but has been very transparent about it and been very good about how she's approached things in her training and coming back to racing. I think she's had a great kind of journey back in the sense of she's got a lot of support from people. People are really looking up to her, and I'll be really interested to see how she runs this and how she attacks Liverpool. She's actually entered in the short course and the long course.
Class.
So, God knows what will be the outcome there. Maybe she's... I don't know if she's entering the short course to really go for the short course and then to go and have a training run out in the long course, or
Let's double our bets a bit.
yeah,
Double chances.
what-
Callum Elson did that one year.
yeah,
Made the short course team.
exactly, and then just go
pretty
have
well
a
in the
training
long
run.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've
So-
got a dark horse for you.
Go on.
She's a junior, so she won't be running in the seniors.
Okay.
Jess Bailey. She ran that at Podium 10 years. She ran an under 20...
Under 20 British record.
British record, 15:24.
24 or 25. I think it's 25.
So she... I think... I mean, that's a big run, and
It's a huge
she's
run.
good on the cross. So I can't... I think she could win the whole thing.
You know what?
Possibly.
I'll be really intrigued to see how the juniors go. I said in the article in the preview that the under 20s is going to be one of the most competitive races of the day for the women.
Do they run with the senior women?
So the under 23s and the seniors go off together. The under 20s go off with the under 17s.
Right. So what? So Jess will run in the under 20 race.
Yes.
Right. So she can't win the senior race.
She won't in the senior race, but she could well give Inez Fitzgerald a run for her money.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a battle, isn't it?
Isn't it?
So you know what's really interesting about cross country is if you just said to me, right, Jess Bailey's in the senior race, I'd say I fancy her to win that whole race. She could win that whole race.
Yeah.
In the under 20 race against Fitzgerald, I'm not saying she can't win it because of course she can win it, but you can never not count
You can't.
Fitzgerald. So I'm like, I don't know about that race. Short distance,
Crazy, isn't it?
completely different race.
Yeah.
Such a funny game cross country.
So they'll be contesting, I think it's 4.4k, the under 20s.
It's basically a sprint.
So yeah, they're going to be absolutely bombing it around. So Fitzgerald, of course, will be expected to go off in just her kind of absolutely
Full
dominant
gas.
fashion. Yeah,
Which probably suits Bailey because she's just run 15:25 for 5k.
exactly. So,
Tasty that.
and it was Fitzgerald's record that Bailey broke.
Oh, they're just going to be swinging punches from round one, aren't they?
Fitzgerald set that back
Haymakers.
in May. So it was only a few months ago that Fitzgerald ran that. She would have been delighted with it, of course.
Yeah.
And now Bailey has gone and knocked 7 seconds off it a couple of weeks out from Liverpool.
Nice.
So that's going to be an incredible battle. You've also got Katie Pye in there. She qualified last year for the under 20s. Shakira King is now old enough to qualify as an under 20. She got an automatic spot last year, had to turn it down because she was so young.
Oh, gutted.
So that crop of girls is going to be
Incredible.
incredible. That's going to be one of the most exciting races of the day, I think. And
You're going to be there doing
I am.
interviews for us.
So
You'll be capturing.
hopefully,
So, well, I mean, I'd love to say to all the runners, make sure you chat to Rosie, but they're not going to see this until after a race.
yeah.
Well, you'll be there capturing the essence after a race. And there are so many runners that we haven't mentioned from the junior races and the seniors, but we just don't have time to run through it all.
Yeah.
But Liverpool's amazing, and I'm glad I can't be there, to be honest. But, you know, I'm in Portugal, sorry. Sunning it up, actually on work.
Could be worse.
But anywho, then obviously all roads lead to Euros in Turkey.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't know which British athletes are going to be there, but we do know some of the
Some big
further
names
afield
are going to be
athletes.
there from...
Jakob Ingebrigtsen, our fan favourite. We're big fans of Jakob at
We are.
TRACKSTAA. We make it clear, and he's going to be, because obviously last time he pulled out with injury.
Yeah.
He's going to be there, and it's going to be a showdown with him and Gressier and Laros. And,
Yeah. So they're all confirmed to be there. And we know Jakob loves the Eurocross.
He does.
He loves it.
Yeah, he does love the Eurocross.
4 times the European under-20 cross champion between 2016 and 2019. Like, there's no denying that man loves the Eurocross. So I think it's going to be a brilliant
It's going to be unreal.
race.
Yeah, so Jakob's obviously going to be the leading name in that senior men's race. He's
He
going
is.
to obviously go up against Gressier, Laros.
Yeah.
Any other senior men that we know that are running for now?
Battacletti, the Italian.
And Isaac Camelli from Belgium.
Yes.
He won their national champs last week. He's in great shape. He beat John Haymans, I think his name is, who's been training out in Kenya. So Camelli will be there. He'll be up there. And then on the women's side?
I've not seen any names for the women's side, actually.
No confirmed.
So, interestingly, the men's has, really, we've had loads of names come out of that side.
Dominated the sort of headlines.
Yeah, and I think that's been because of Ingebrigtsen. Ingebrigtsen returns, and suddenly kind of people have flooded to the senior men's race.
Surely-
Which you can't blame, because that is, he's going to be an absolute spectacle. He's so special to watch race.
What about Norwegian Grovdal? Is it Grovdal?
Yeah.
She'll be
so.
be there. She'll be one of the leading athletes, no doubt. She's from the Norwegians.
So, some huge names, and I think Jakob leading the charge is going to have so many eyes turn to Euros that maybe people would have been interested in watching, but maybe wouldn't have made the effort to go and watch it live and just caught little clips or seen the news on Instagram post race. Whereas now people will see Jakob and go, yeah, let's go watch because he's going to make it a great race.
It's exciting times, and it'll all be live on the BBC. Look at us giving a plug to BBC. But let's go back to British soil. Last week, was it? You was at Podium 10-year anniversary?
Yeah, that was cold.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Up
So,
north.
Barrowford. I went there once. How long did it take to get there?
4 hours, 4.5.
4 hours back.
Yep, in the same day.
Why didn't you stay the night?
We had stuff on back down in London on Sunday, so I just had to.
So it's your own fault.
Yeah. What can I say? I'm a social butterfly.
You should have stayed. 8 hours in the car. But Rosie, you were there on running the live stream on Instagram.
Yes.
With Luke Duffy.
Yeah.
For anyone that's watching back home, what is the Podium 10-year anniversary? Like, what distances were contested, etc.?
So Podium is an incredible organisation anyway. They have, 10 years ago, Chris Barnes decided that he wanted to do a race that was more about what the athletes are wanting from races. They're not just turning up to just run and that sort of thing. He wanted to kind of cultivate an environment that allowed for fast racing, the things that athletes would like, entries that weren't too expensive, that type of thing. So he kind of generated Podium 5K, and at this event it was the 5K that was run. He has had some variations over the last decade. There was a 10-mile race where Emil Kress had a phenomenal run.
Yeah, he took the British record.
Yeah, so it was, I think he ran something like 45, 47.
About 30 paces as well. It was like, well, maybe not 30, but it was class.
Mental.
It was like the Eliud Kipchoge sub 2 in Vienna.
Absolutely mental. So things like that have come from Podium, and it's absolutely brilliant. But it is predominantly fast 5K racing.
Yeah, they don't mess
which
about,
is why it's so appealing. And they have the open races that start the day, so anyone can go and be part of it. And then the graded races start, and they progress down into the fastest race of the evening.
This episode is brought to you by Pillar Performance. Pillar Performance are attacking the supplementation world like no other company out there. Now, we've all heard of carbohydrates and hydration products to ensure that you get to the finish line in the best place possible. Pillar Performance are doing it slightly different. They're ensuring that you stand on the start line in the best place possible. Now, if you would like some discount off the Pillar Performance range, head over to pillarperformance.shop and you can enter our discount code TRACKSTAA, all capitals, for 15% off. Now, if you are watching or listening from the US, head over to thefeed.com/pillar, enter the same discount code TRACKSTAA, all capitals, and you can get the same discount. Big thank you to Pillar Performance for supporting us at TRACKSTAA and the show. And my personal favourite product is the triple magnesium, which you can receive in the pouches or in the jar. I take it before bed every single night, and I'm seeing the data improve through my Coros. I'm seeing my sleep score with my REM and my deep sleep score going up, as well as my recovery score as well. So big shout out to Pillar.
As the races progressed down, we started, I think this time around was 18:30.
All right.
So that's, I mean, for people
pretty
that
solid,
that's pretty solid 5K. That's pretty well above your average, regardless of kind of the big picture that you're looking at. That's pretty solid. And for the graded race to be starting at that just shows the calibre that Podium is now attracting. Yeah. And they move down through the evening. They get faster and faster and faster. And your final race of the evening for this one was sub 14:30.
It's madness, that.
Mental. It was won in 13:35.
Yeah, Belgium athlete.
Yeah, Robin Hendricks.
Yeah, because I remember the couple of days before the race, Chris Barnes put out on Podium's Instagram about you could bet on athletes. Yeah. But you could only bet, I think you could only bet in person. I was gutted because I proper fancied 50 quid on Osama Meslek. I think he was, no, not Osama Meslek, sorry, James West. He was they put him as 12-1, but he was clearly pacing his girlfriend Hannah.
He was.
I'm glad I didn't put 50 quid on him.
Yeah.
He was just jogging around.
He was just chilling. He was having a great time.
But 12-1, I fancied that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, real good odds.
But yeah, so James paced Hannah. So Hannah was the female winner.
Yeah.
15:18 she ran.
Really solid.
So absolutely huge for this time of year.
But they run with the men, don't they? And it's almost like an open race, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she was in the sub 16-minute race.
Yeah.
And yeah, had a great run, 34-second personal best.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Beth Potter did that the year she ran that unofficial world record.
Yes, 14:41.
Yeah, so Podium's had some mad achievements over the years.
Absolutely.
Beth Potter ran an unofficial world record. Obviously, Emil Kress was British record, 2 highlight moments. I remember 10 years ago, the first ever one, I think it was... what year was it? Which year would it have been?
It must have been 2014.
Which year would it... No, which year was it when Mark Scott
That was 2020.
Yes, that was during COVID.
Yeah, so that was 13:20 he ran for the British record.
So that night, because Podium's been around for a while, obviously 10 years, but I don't know if this is harsh, but like it came to stardom when that event in 2020 with Scott and Sessamon and I can't remember who else was in Alex Yee. So it was Scott, Alex Yee, Sessamon. Mark Scott ran 13:20 in the Bowman kit, and my mate Clarkey was running. He jogged around in 14 minutes, had a right humdinger, and then Sarah Aston was running as well. So I went up there, and I remember. I don't know if there was a live stream of the race. I don't recall there being a live stream back in those days, when TV was black and white. But I live streamed it on my Instagram, and it was popping off. Like filming a 13:20 race was mental. I remember I had like Evan Yeager from Bowman Track Club like commenting in the stream. I felt like a rat don. It was class. But that set the stall, because it was like, wow, these races are super competitive. And also, that course at Barrowford, everyone was like, wow, that is so far. It must be short. Everyone was like, it's got to be 4.8k, but it is just that quick. But I remember during that race, like, it was during some form of COVID restrictions, I think. And I think athletics races, you had to start socially distanced. And then the photos came out of the start, and you got all these 13:30 lads just wrestling, like literally, like Clark's got his arm in like Mark Scott's face and stuff, and it's just carnage. Looks great. I think they got reported.
Probably.
I think they did get reported. But it's got rid of those allegations and cracked on, which is good. And it was good for not maybe good for COVID, but good in the name of the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what Podium's all about. It is about bringing athletics kind of up to date and focusing on the athlete. And we spoke a little bit about Night of 10Ks on the last episode, about how they've done stuff that has been so good for athletics, and we need more of it. And that is, to me, Podium is essentially the road equivalent. They are bringing a party to these events, and people love to watch them, even if they're not racing. Like, I know that if I see a local Podium race on and I can go
watch.
I'll go watch. It'll be absolutely brilliant. So that's what our sport needs, and Podium do a great job of it, and the athletes love it, because why would you not love an evening? It's just starting to get dark. You've got the burger vans, you've got all the food vans out.
A bit more of a night, innit? A bit more of a day or a night out. Basically what Highgate have done, isn't it? You know? And we've got the festival coming up again in March. They did it this year.
In Leicester.
Yeah, in Leicester. I didn't go, but we had some of the TRACKSTAA guys on the ground doing interviews. I think Alfie was there. I just remember it being a mega event, different distances and stuff. But I'm going to try and get an entry for the next one, because it just looks like one of them races I don't want to miss. And I'm sick of missing podiums. Like they crop up, and I'm like, I wish I was fit and I did that. I keep missing them, so I'm going to try and enter more podiums for sure.
Definitely do. And like, you've got your music blaring at different points on the course. Like, there is nowhere on that course that's quiet. Yeah. Because you
might not PB, surely.
Exactly. Like, you might have points where the crowds are thinner, but you've still got a music like absolutely blaring out the speakers. It's brilliant. The playlists are great. Like, there's nothing that you could really imagine from an event that you don't get at Podium. You even have the pyrotechnics coming out and stuff at the finish for the big races. Like,
I'll probably put them out for me.
Of course.
My 15-12.
Obviously. Yeah.
Just winning the women's race. Where's the pyros? Come on, Chris. Where's the flamethrowers? No, but Podium's sick. Well done to Chris and Sports Shoes team. Obviously, Sports Shoes acquired it. I don't know, a few years ago.
I think that was around 2023 actually.
So not that long ago. Yeah, they jumped on it.
And I mean, they've done brilliant things for
obviously put a lot of fuel into it. Like brands and sponsorship, which is what I think. Chris won't mind me saying, and from my experience of doing comeback, like having a brand, just a little more, not just more money, but like
makes it more exciting.
More Arsenal tools, a bit more fuel to the fire, just gives you an opportunity to do more stuff, more cool stuff. But then with it being athlete first, they can do more stuff for the athlete, which then affects the results you get. Yeah, no, that's what it's about.
And I think it's really important, because I mean, I know people that will go to podiums and they'll race for a brand. They'll be in the Adidas kit or Saucony kit or
pro for a night or pro for a day sort of thing.
Exactly. And it almost helps start to bridge that gap between elite and sub-elite. And you can just start to get the little tasters, and it's going to help with motivation. It's going to help with the desire to race and the excitement for the sport. There is no real bad side to it. Like, everybody wins in that. The brands get more exposure, the events get more exciting, and athletes enjoy it more.
And if they weren't about, not just Podium, but if Podium weren't a thing, but then other people and other groups that have been inspired by Podium, we wouldn't really have a lot of decent races in the UK. No offence, British athletics don't really do very well putting on events. UKA are the event company, but they don't really put on any decent events. They do one decent Diamond League, which we make a massive loss on, and that's it. Like,
Yeah.
it's savage, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
So, Podium and groups like that fill a hole of actually giving, not just fans, give us a chance to talk
Yeah.
about something, but they give athletes an opportunity of that sub-elite, elite, and recreational level to run something decent, because it's not like, you know, you can be a 14:30 male 5k runner, well, you're never going to run in the London Diamond League, but you know you can almost get your Diamond League moment at the Podium.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what there's almost like a positive and a negative there, isn't there? UKA should do much more to emulate what Podium are doing, and Podium are doing something amazing.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's about making those special moments accessible again. And I mean, we spoke last time about how accessible running is to people, and it kind of builds on that. It's an accessible sport. It's a sport for everybody, and it's a sport that's meant to be about its athletes. And Podium does a great job of kind of epitomising those values and bringing them to the forefront of a big race. And it brings together, again, it helps bring together that point of, I'm competing at the same race that Olympians are at, which is absolutely amazing. Like, you can go do your race, you can be in the open race or the 18:30 or in the sub-16, whichever one you're in, and then you can enjoy the evening and go and watch Johnny Brownlee, Ben Patterson, Phil Sussman, them all go against each other in the final race of the night. And I don't really see what more you could ask for an event. Like, it's absolutely brilliant.
So, if I said to you, will you do Podium with me in March Festival?
I would love to.
Right, so Chris, we've just plugged your entire event. So really,
Chris has got me on the live stream for Podium.
Rosie was doing the live stream for you. We should get free entries.
Yeah, well,
and you know what? They don't have to be free. I'll pay it. TRACKSTAA will pay away. But I know how quick it sells out. So what I'm basically asking is, I'm like, can you put me to the top of the list of the Oasis tickets? Can you get us tickets? We'll pay the fee, but can you guarantee us a spot? Because I know what's going to happen on this. I'm not actually going to I'm not going to say the date that the entry's open, because I really want to run. But I know what'll happen. They'll go live and I'll be like, sold out.
Yeah,
there's another Podium I can't run.
They're going to be gone in seconds. But I'm really excited. So I'm hopefully going to be working the live stream. I've spoken to Chris a little bit about that. So there's plans for a live stream.
How can you race and do the live stream?
I'll make it work.
Come on.
I'll make it work.
We'll have to, got to make it work.
I'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out, yeah.
But yeah.
POV as you're running.
Yeah.
Match it.
Yeah.
We'll get some e-bikes. We'll get some e-bikes and we'll get Rosie out on the course. But big up Podium.
But yeah, it's going to be brilliant. So things are in the works for the festival to come back. People loved the festival. Like, again, I know so many people that made the trip up to Leicester from London just to go and watch. And I think that just tells you absolutely everything about what Podium stands for, what it's like to be there as a spectator and as an athlete. And I'm really excited. Whatever capacity I'm there in March, I will love it, because it'll be brilliant. Yeah.
Well, I hope they're paying you well, Rosie, because if you're there for TRACKSTAA, they're going to have to pay for the nose this time, because you're TRACKSTAA MVP now, so we'll see what happens. Moving on. We're going from a real positive to a real negative right now, but that's the way the sport goes.
Hey, it's all, yeah.
London 2012. I've put this on my notepad. London 2012 Dirty 1500.
Yeah.
That could be taken in many ways, but talk me through.
I'm sure the internet will do its thing.
What's going on in that race? Bit of a mess, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's the women's 1500 metre final from the London 2012 Olympics. And, I mean, I don't know about you, but I think, to me, London 2012 was just phenomenal. Like, I only think of positive things when I hear London 2012.
Super Saturday and all that.
All of that, which we'll talk about later.
Well, yeah.
So, this is kind of the only real blemish that springs to mind for me. I'm sure we can find plenty more if we look.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, something that we'll talk about again in a moment. But this 1500 metres for the women had 13 competitors. And with the news that broke this week of Tatiana Tomashova, there's now 5 of those 13 that have been disqualified for doping in that race.
I'm going to get the results up while you're chatting. Go on, yeah, shout.
So that to me that's a huge number.
Mental.
5 out of 13 have been disqualified. So Tomashova, Russian athlete, I believe, she initially finished 4th in that race, and it came out this week that she's been disqualified for doping. The result will be annulled, and because of previous doping disqualifications, her 4th place had been upgraded to silver. So she was actually the silver medalist from London 2012, and that has now been taken off her.
I'm just going to show you this. This is when you Wikipedia the race. You see all those red? That's all the athletes that have been disqualified.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I mean, another one's been popped. At the moment, the gold is with Yusuf Jamal from Bahrain.
Mm-hmm.
Silver goes to Aragari from Ethiopia. And Shannon Robury's just been promoted to a bronze from the US.
Mm-hmm.
You got Lisa Zabriskie from Great Britain. She's been put up to 4th. And Laura Waitman is up to 6th.
Yeah.
And interestingly, Helen Obiri was 7th.
Wow.
I know, yeah. Helen Obiri was
Wow.
7th, who now runs the marathon. But hang on, Helen. Stay patient, because you might get a gold soon.
Yeah.
That is obviously banking on Laura Waitman and Lisa Zabriskie being popped. Hopefully they don't.
Let's fingers crossed.
Hopefully they don't get popped. But yeah, you've had 2 Turkish athletes, 2 Russian athletes, and an athlete from Belarus that have all been done for doping. I will pose the question to you, Rosie. With that being the dirtiest race in history, we're not naive enough to believe that was the only dirty race or dirty event at the Olympics, or could it?
No.
You know, it's not like they were the only athletes in that one race that were doping.
Wow, I'd love to believe that they were.
Surely not. You had a men's 800 metre world record from Rhodesia.
Yeah.
So, who knows?
Yeah.
That's one race that sticks out. And then obviously the 5 and 10Ks were extremely competitive.
Yeah, insane. I think as an athletics fan, I would love to bury my head in the sand and say
We don't do that.
it can only possibly be that race. But of course, if that is the kind of
Calibre of doping.
yeah,
Yeah.
if it's that saturated in that one race,
Yeah.
questions have got to be asked about the rest of the games.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's when Salazar was at his peak as well. He had all of his squad
Yeah.
there, and obviously he'd come out as a dirty doper. Who knows?
And-
We'll never know, but maybe the odd name will crop up. But why is that the only race that's getting popped? And not continually, because like, I don't know the process. Maybe someone watching can let us know. But like, are they really scrutinising that result? Are they looking at other events as intensively?
I would love to know the details about that, because I could see the logic of we've ticked another one off of that race. We should probably have another look and
That's what I mean. Yeah.
really kind of dive into it. And I can see why that would spark maybe questions about the athletes in that particular event. But it does seem very odd that so many are coming up from this one race and none of the others. And I do think that the others maybe need to be put under the microscope a little bit more. We know that the drugs are always going to be ahead of the tests.
Yeah.
They are always going to be years ahead of the testing. So it wouldn't surprise me if in the next few years we started to see more coming out. Hopefully not any more from that race, but from more around those games as well. Because as much as London 2012 was an absolutely phenomenal spectacle, and it will always remain something that kind of lit the love of athletics for me. Like that was
it's beautiful.
It was my entire inspiration. It's what made me fall in love with the sport.
I think it transcended the sport in this country. Like, I remember going down to my club Tuesday nights, Thursday nights, and we didn't have many juniors under the age of sort of 13, 12, and then the week after the games finished, 100 kids, just nippers 7, 8, 9 years old. And we, I talk about my journey into the sport when I was under 11. There was me and one other kid under 11, and that was it. And then the next oldest was under 15. So then you got hundreds of kids coming down because they've seen Mo Farah, Jess Ennis, and Greg Rutherford. They want to go and do long jump. They want to go do the hurdles or the javelins. They've seen Jess Ennis, and those icons from the UK from the London Olympics have really helped the sport.
Yeah,
keep going. Really,
absolutely,
really keep going, because kids have got to have someone to look up to, haven't they?
Yeah, they do, and they have to have someone to look up to and to think I can do that. And London 2012, I think, did a great job of making those heroes feel human. They were these incredible superhumans in a sense of what they've done is phenomenal, but because it was a home games, the magic of it being a home games made them feel closer to you than... I mean, my first memory of the Olympics is Beijing, and I remember just thinking, this is really cool. I have no idea what I'm watching. I was 6. God,
I'm so old.
And I remember thinking, I have no idea what I'm watching, but this is really cool. And then to see the home games come around, it was almost this huge shift. And obviously being a little bit older, I understood it. But this huge shift in thinking, I know these people are around me. I'm surrounded by these incredible athletes, and there's no reason why you can't go and do that. And it kind of made it feel real and made it feel doable. And I think that is a really key thing in kind of inspiring the generation that it did.
No, the 2012 games was amazing, and we are going to talk a little bit more about it later on in the show when we run through our top moments. But before we do that, I just want to talk to you guys about our newsletter, On Your Marks. So we've spoken about it loosely on the show, but basically every 2 weeks we release a newsletter which you can subscribe to via the description in this YouTube video, or if you head over to our Instagram, click the link in our bio. Every 2 weeks, Rosie and George are bringing you up to speed with everything from the running world, whether that's race results from the UK and the US, news from the global stage, or talking to you about the best products and kit that you can buy for your running. It is basically your one-stop shop for all of your running coverage. And you know what? The one that we brought out yesterday, I went through it again today, and I'm yet to see a product that shows the sport in so much depth. We're 2 newsletters in, right? Three. This is the 3rd one.
3.
Which is incredible to say that we're already at that point, but I don't think there's anywhere that is that intense. It shows such a diverse spectrum of the sport. So well done to you, George, and the rest of the team for doing that. But guys, if you love running and you love reading about it, it literally is the best place to find out what's going on. I'm finding out about the sport, and it's my company's newsletter, so it's incredible. And then this show is obviously out the week in between each newsletter, so every 2 weeks we'll bring a show out to do the same, but on video or audio format. So if you're on your long run today, listen to us. Thank you again for listening in and tuning in. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you again for coming back. Please do subscribe to the channel, give us a like on YouTube, and if you listen to us on podcast, please do leave us a review, because it pops us further up on the rankings, which means more people are going to find us on the Explore page. That's what it's all about. Right, next up, our final segment of the show, Rosie, we're going to talk about our top moments. So what this basically means, people, is these are our top moments that we remember since watching athletics. So, Rosie, I would never normally ask someone's age, but for our viewers, how old are you?
I'm 22.
So you were born in
2002.
Wow.
I'm so sorry.
I'm 30, so I was born in 1994. But it does give us a nice different dynamic, because your memories are going to be a little bit more recent than mine.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit of a dinosaur when it comes to sort of history and stuff, so I'm going to be going a little bit further back. Do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'm going to go with a really recent one, actually, to kick us off with. And I'm just going to say the Bislett Games from this season.
Yeah.
It was the first time I've ever been to the Bislett Games, first time I've ever been to Oslo. And I just thought it was absolutely incredible. I love watching it every year, but to be there as a fan, and I mean, I went with some of my friends, and they'll tell you that they feel the same. It was an incredible meet to be at. We had a great time.
Yeah.
They were in the stands. I was lucky enough to be in the mix zone doing some interviews. So I came away from the Bislett Games, and I just thought that is what athletics is all about. That was the most fun I've ever had at a meet, like watching a meet. Incredible. And I think I would love to pick out one specific moment. Obviously, you had Ingebrigtsen running very close with Chariot on the finish. That's probably the biggest standout moment of those games, but that Diamond League as a whole was one of my favourite memories of being an athletics fan. I just thought it was amazing.
Yeah, it was cool. I was there first time as well. Interviewed Jakob, first ever time. That was scary.
Yeah.
But sick at the same time. Okay, I'm going to kick things off on my list. 2022, Commonwealth Games, Birmingham, 10,000 metre final, Eilish McColgan wins gold.
Yeah, incredible.
30,000 spectators, sellout. She sprinted past Kenya's Irene Chaptai. Her mum won the title when she was an athlete, and Steve Cram was commentating. I mean, if Carlsberg did winning moments, that's up there. But I think for me, why it was so special was I didn't watch it. I watched it on TV live. Because the type of runner Eilish is, not known as a kicker.
Yeah.
To beat the African kicker in Eilish's backyard, British home crowd, and sprint past, it was so homegrown and organic. You know, you've got the Kenyan Irene just gliding, looking chill, and and you've got Eilish like 2-3 laps out, like grimace, proper like struggling, and you're like, any minute, Chaptai's going to just go. She's just going to drop the hammer, and because we're used to seeing that from the Africans, that's the reality. But Eilish holds on. And a couple of laps to go, 600 to go, you can just see that elastic band nearly goes, and Eilish is just hanging on, and then she just comes back. And even down the back straight, she's dying, she's struggling, going. And Crammy's talking about, you know, how much she's trying, and Crammy wants her to win, obviously. You know, he doesn't say it, but he wants her to win. And then 150 to go. Honestly, I'll get the hair stand up the back of my neck, because 150 to go, she pulls out, and it's like, hang on.
Yeah.
Everyone just goes, what? She pulls out, goes for it, and comes past down the home straight. And I think it's just one of the best ever moments in track and field British history.
Yeah. I think that was a phenomenal race. I remember being in my living room watching it and jumping up and down, like screaming at the TV for her to just go.
I feel really bad for the Kenyan athlete. Everyone was against her. But, amazing.
But it was, magical. And kind of to that end, one of my other ones is KJT. She's got to be on there for me because people have seen her journey. They've seen her knock on the door and they've seen her then get injured and have it whipped away from her.
Yeah.
And I think to see her take the world gold in 2019, it was like, she finally deserves it. It's all going to be hers. She's going to get everything she's ever worked for. And then Tokyo 21 rolls around and it all gets snatched from her again. And I think to see the high, the huge low, and then to see her get her silver was full circle for me. Like, that was just... I can't think of anything that she deserved more than obviously the gold. But
coming of age.
Yeah, it was
performance,
so special to see, having watched her journey for it to culminate in the Olympic silver that she so desperately wanted.
Yeah.
Was just phenomenal because, I followed her for years, as so many athletics fans have. And to see some of the heartbreaks that she's had, the injuries, the no jumps, one of the long jumps sticks in my mind of a huge jump she had, and they spent ages agonising whether a mark on the plasticine was her or whether it wasn't, and they weren't sure.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
And it tore away the rest of her competition because eventually they decided against her. And I just think that it was so special to see that finally come together in something that meant so much to her. It was phenomenal, and that's the sort of thing that we watch sport for.
Yeah, those moments that sort of like athletes have had tough going, they finally make it.
Exactly, and her story is just one that I think a lot of people will resonate with, and she's obviously had an incredibly supportive network, but it's been so hard for her and for them, and to have spoken about her journey and not played up how hard it's been, but to have been honest with how hard it's been, I think is the transparency that makes it endearing to so many people, and I think that's why it's got to be on my list.
Fair. No, I like that one, Rosie. Next up for me, I'm gonna go back. I wasn't even born, but it's just a moment that I know about because I'm a nerd. 1972 Olympics, Munich, 800 meter men's. Dave Wattle.
Yeah.
The American. He's most known for modern day fans. He's most known for winning that race because he was wearing a cap.
Yeah.
Hey, Pop. He was wearing a like a baseball cap, not even backwards. Just forwards. He was world record holder as well in the 800 metres. But the reason why it was such an emphatic win was because he ran the entire race in last place. He ran even splits for the first lap, second lap. He was so composed. He was last the entire race until the home straight. When I say last, I mean nowhere. And just sitting. He ran even pace, and it was almost like he was on. It was almost like he was AI autopilot. And even when he came through at the end, he's not like driving his arms and absolutely losing his form. He's just so still and calm. His upper body doesn't move, and he wins by a whisker, the smallest margin. You've got to watch it. We'll get the clip up, but it's like he just makes it look like, yeah, that's what I meant to do. And he's just like, it was just such a boss move. It was just such a bad boss move. So Dave Watts, for me, that was legendary. And that really sort of made me fall in love with the old sport that I could look back on.
Yeah. I think watching a metronomic performance like that it is just mind blowing because you think you've just completely stripped it back to just running. There's no real tactic in that. It is just pure.
I'm going to run a certain pace. And I think that's better than everyone else, basically. Yeah, I love it.
It's incredible because to be able to go and do that it takes guts to do it anyway, to be able to sit and not panic. But to be able to run even splits, it's something that most athletes don't do. When have you ever seen that? Especially the championship.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
No, true.
So that does make it really special.
So, what's your last one on your list?
Oh, gosh. Okay. Super Saturday's got to be on there. And that's going to be my last one. But nice. I would like to give a mention to Mo Farah's European record in 2014. It's a 2-mile record in Birmingham. And it was the first time I had ever watched athletics live.
Oh, you saw it live?
Yeah, nice, it was the first time I was ever at an athletics, Diamond League. So that's got to be mentioned because that was really special.
Yeah, your last moment, your last top moment on the list, what was it?
Super Saturday.
Super Saturday, yeah.
So Super Saturday, I remember watching it. Again, obviously 2012, I was nearly 10 years old. So not exactly old, but I'm old enough to be blown away by the magnitude of what was going on. And obviously we'd had a great morning anyway with rowers.
Yeah, huge day.
Huge day. And then to see the gold starting to come through, with it being the games that did inspire me so much, to then kind of watch the medals roll in from Mo and Jess and Greg. I just thought...
And how long was the period where Mo, Jess and Greg won?
44 minutes.
Mental, that is.
Absolutely crazy.
There was no low moment in that 45 minutes, was there?
No, it was just...
I think the country's never been so happy.
Yeah, it was just... Yeah, I mean, I've got goosebumps talking about it, just thinking about it. And I look back at like clips, every time I see a clip from that August, I just think it's absolutely phenomenal. And it will never not be inspiring to watch. I think the overwhelming feeling of the entire nation and Crammy's commentary over the top just makes it incredible. I remember watching Jess Ennis and her 800, and I remember him saying, like, if you shout loud enough from Sheffield, she might just hear you.
That's beautiful commentary.
And that just makes me think, like, that is exactly what the country was like. The entire country was behind her and behind all of them.
Yeah.
And I think that's so special because it's so unique. Yeah, I just think the way that it comes together with like the whole nation, with the success and everything that was poured into 2012, I think that's what made it so special and why it was kind of so impactful to watch and to be, because you felt part of it. You felt part of Team GB in that sense of everybody was just willing all of them on, and to see it come to fruition in such a way, I think we won't ever see anything like that again, and that's why it's so special. And I think, I can't ever imagine something as an athletics fan that is going to top seeing all three of those.
And what a way to sign off the show. I mean, talking about our top moments and everything else we've spoken about on the show, I think it's a beautiful way to end, Rosie. And thank you to you guys watching back home on YouTube and also listening on podcasts. Maybe you're on your long run right now tuning in, but thank you so much for tuning in to the TRACKSTAA Podcast. If you haven't already, please do give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and also leave us a review on the podcast. It's been another fun show, obviously different settings with it being in my house, but hopefully it's been all right.
Yeah, it's been great, I think.
Excellent. All right. Well, we'll see you next time. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time. And if you haven't already, sign up to our newsletter on your marks, because that's where everything else is going on, basically.
Yeah.
Ciao. Today's episode is brought to you by Pillar Performance. They are the episode sponsor. And if you've never heard of those guys before, then let me explain to you exactly who they are. They are a great team of people down under in Australia, and they are a micronutrition company. And ultimately, they are tackling sports supplementation completely different to anyone out there. So we've all heard of products that come from carbohydrates and hydration. They are there to get you to the finish line in the best place possible. Whereas Pillar Performance, they are getting you to the start line in the strongest place possible. Now, if you use TRACKSTAA's discount code, which is TRACKSTAA, all capitals, you can get 15% off their entire range. If you're watching from the US, you can head over to pillarperformance.shop and grab yourself 15% off. And if you're outside of the US and you're watching today, you can head over to thefeed.com/pillar. Use TRACKSTAA's discount code, which is all capitals TRACKSTAA, 15% off. And once again, thank you for Pillar for supporting the show.